Knights of Azure 1 or Dead End Request 1 for my next game to play? Well, they're completely different games. On one hand, we got a turn-based RPG with some visual novel elements, and on the other hand, you got a full-fledged action RPG, which is shorter. Dead End Request is gonna take you like at the very least 25 to 30 hours to complete, whereas Knights of Azure you can beat in like less than 20 hours. And none of those. Dead End Request, I don't remember if it has an easy mode or hard mode. The Knights of Azure 1, you cannot choose the difficulty. So if difficulty is a big deal for you, maybe go with Dead End Request, because I think I remember you can up the difficulty to hard or easy if you want an easy ride. Knights of Azure is challenging and doesn't have any difficulty settings. But yeah, it's hard to compare, man. It's as if you were asking me Nier Replicant versus Dragon Quest XI. Like, come on, man. Play both. Ashoka Tano, thanks a bunch for the donation once again. I loved Sakura Wars in PS4, but I love the visual novel parts, not the gameplay. Should have been a strategy RPG, not a hack and slash. I kind of agree. I thought the hack and slash in Sakura Wars was great. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, we don't like when our companies decide to go action instead of turn-based or strategy. We don't want that, right? Yeah. I'm with you, man. I'm not strongly against that, but yeah. I really like Sakura Wars, So Long My Love. I mean, I'm a huge fucking fan of that game. And one of the best things about it was a strategic battle system. I really enjoyed it. And in the PS4 game, it just feels like it's just that, like mindless hack and slash. And it's fun. I like mindless hack and slash. That's what I'm trying to say. But it should have remained strategic, in my opinion. Will you still play Dragon Quest XII if they make it an action RPG? I will probably wait until it's like $10 or $20, like Final Fantasy VII Remake. I will do the same. I would have waited on Final Fantasy XVI had it not been a gift. Oscar, my friend, gave it to me on my birthday, Final Fantasy XVI, but I was planning on doing the same. I was like, man, I'm gonna play Final Fantasy XVI when it's like $15. If Dragon Quest XII goes action, I'm gonna do the same. I'm not gonna give a shit about it. I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna review it, and I'm gonna wait forever until the price drops considerably, and then I'll play it. Just to play it, man. Just to have an opinion. I mean, it's Dragon fucking Quest. I have to, even if it's action, even if it's politicized. I'm gonna have to play it and have an opinion about it, right? Do you think Fire Emblem will become like those franchises that try to milk out the most profit out of their games, like Atlus with Persona? Not really. I don't think so. I mean, they've done it before with some spin-offs, Warriors and Heroes on mobile phones. I think they will definitely milk. I mean, it's not like they will become. They're already like that, but they aren't milking their franchise as much as freaking Atlus with Persona 5. What's a horrible game you think everyone should? Interesting question. What's a horrible game you think everyone should play? I think, no, definitely not Time and Eternity. Nobody should play that. There are some really, really bad JRPGs that I think everybody should play just to laugh, just for fun, because everybody should check them out because they're so bad, so fucking stupid, they're kind of not good but fun. Like Draken, for example. I think everybody needs to play Draken on the Super Nintendo because it's just unbelievable. I mean, it's just bad, man. But bad in such a funny way. It's such a bad game. But there are others that I wouldn't recommend, like Valhalla Knights. Nobody should play that piece of shit, man. Maybe Dragoneer's Aria. I don't think it's horrible, but I think it's a bad game. But I don't know, I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. Just Draken is more fun. There's a lot of RPGs out there that are like broken, but broken in a funny way. Not in the natural doctrine way. That's do not play that fucking garbage. I will recommend Virtual Highlight, because on the Sega Saturn, I know most people are not gonna play the game, but that's a game that's so unbelievably bad. That's like, man, why is the? I mean, did they really develop the game like this? Did they really? And they didn't give a fuck. I was like, oh man, yeah, let's publish the game. It doesn't matter. Like, why? How could you publish a game like that? It's horrible. It's broken. It's freaking terrible. I think that's a game everybody should play. Just the first, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes to realize, man, this is insanely bad. It's a fun one to pick on. What else? Metabots Infinity on the GameCube. That's also one, man. No way. It's funny, it's so fucking horrible, horrendous. Yeah, definitely that one. Tales of Arise versus Ys 9 Monstrum Nox. Ys 9 for me, I'm a bigger Ys fan than Tales fan nowadays. And I think Monstrum Nox, well, Monstrum Nox is definitely my favorite Ys game of all time so far. Really liked it. Whereas Tales of Arise took some liberties with the storytelling and went science fiction for no reason. All the Tales games, well, not all of them, but most of them have some science fiction elements, but they keep it to a minimum, right? And Tales of Arise pretty much went Star Ocean level of science fiction. Sorry for the spoiler, that's all I'm gonna spoil. And but it's also a really good game. I really like Tales of Arise. But I think Ys 9, in terms of combat, in terms of storytelling, in terms of music, is just far superior. The only thing Arise is superior to Ys 9 is the graphics. But because the company Bandai Namco has more money to develop better graphics and better visuals and a better graphic engine than Falcom. Okay, so it's unfair to compare the rich with the poor. Not that Falcom is poor, they're not poor, but you see what I mean, right? So yeah, Ys 9 all the way is a much better game, in my opinion. Are you more into complex or simple characters usually? Complex, really. Always, every time. Not that I dislike simple characters. I do like, the cliche, the power of friendship, and simple-minded characters that, classic cliches, right? I like those too, but yeah, definitely will always give preference to a complex character than a simple character. Complex characters, I feel they represent humans more in a more realistic way, because human beings, every single human being, we're complex creatures. We aren't one-sided, simple-minded creatures like those JRPG protagonists. It's just, yeah, I'm a complex human being, so I like complex characters. Who is the worst Tales protagonist? Probably Luke from Tales of the Abyss. Still, he gets some interesting development, and he comes around near the end. And at the end, you're like, okay, I'm okay with this guy now. I like this guy now. But yeah, most of the game is like, fuck this guy, man. What a douchebag. Luke from Tales of the Abyss. Well, yeah. The rest are fine. Sorry from Cesteria. We were just talking about him. Could be considered as one of the worst, because he's just generic. There's not much to say about him. He's just there. But, yeah. I think that's it, man. I've seen some complaints about the main character in Tales of Destiny 2. The real Tales of Destiny 2. The one that never came out of Japan. Because that's Stan's kid. But I haven't played that game, so I don't know. Kless is fine. Kless from Tales of Fantasia. I found him more interesting than your average generic hero protagonist. But yeah, he's not one of the best. I think it's easier to say who are the best. Like, Velvet is definitely the best. Senel is annoying. I know a lot of people hate the guy, but I think he's one of the most interesting, complex protagonists in the game. Oh, man, Vesperia, of course. Yuri is one of the best protagonists. Unusual, slightly mature protagonist, of course. Alphen isn't that bad, I like the guy. He goes kind of generic after a while and forgettable, but during the first hours, he's an interesting protagonist. Nothing wrong with that, but yeah. It's just easier to say who are the best instead of the worst. Will you consider Arc Rise Fantasia's best battle system unique? Not that unique, but yeah, definitely. It's a unique combat where with everybody's bound by an action points bar, and you gotta like choose your actions carefully. It's not just choose the action for this character, and then this other character, and then this other character. No, you need to choose who's gonna act. I mean, or you can do that too, the way I just described it. But everybody shares the same action points bar, and there's only a limited amount of actions you can do and perform. So yeah, it's a unique battle system, definitely. Not that unique, but unique nonetheless. How about Sense of Destruction? Do you like the game? I do. I never finished it. I rage quit on it a long time ago because the enemies abuse the battle mechanics a lot. I don't remember much about that, but I remember this boss fight in prison. You revisit a prison with just the two main characters, the guy and the girl, no other party members, and you gotta beat this guy. And he's a cheap motherfucker. He keeps abusing the battle mechanics against you over and over again, and it was just horrible. And I rage quit. And I grinded, and I still died. It's such an unfair battle, man. Cheap battle. I think Sense of Destruction is an amazing game. Or it could have been... Let me put it this way. It could have been an amazing game had it not been kinda ruined by these obnoxious and awful difficulty spikes. And I'm also happy to know that some reviewers, many years later, after rage quitting on the game, I read some reviews about it online, some magazines, and they actually agree with me. Man, they were complaining about the same, how the enemy AI, some bosses are so fucking cheap and unfair, man. Yeah. It's a good game, though, and it had potential, and there's an anime based on it. Watch the anime instead. But yeah, it's a good game, just get ready for those nasty spikes. Great music. I think Yasunori Mitsuda did some of the music. Have you played any Metal Gear Solid games? Yeah, and I didn't like them. I didn't become a fan. I remember playing the first one on the... I never played the NES games. I played the first one on the PlayStation 1 at a friend's house a long time ago. Something about it turned me off. And then, I don't know, I don't like Snake's personality. He's too Western, badass type of character. And that cliche, overstayed his welcome a long time ago in Hollywood movies. I know for a fact the character is based on the Snake from Pliskin, what's his name? Pliskin, right? From Escape from New York, which is a good movie, a bit overrated for my taste, but I like the movie, and I like the character. So then you see this guy in Metal Gear, which is basically a ripoff of that character. I mean, I don't know. And then the gameplay, while I do like that the fact that you hide from enemies and ambush them, I like that, Something about the story progression and the gameplay progression turned me off. I just didn't find it appealing for me, and I gave up. I remember playing, what was it, like Subsistence? I think that's the third one, right? It's on the PS2. And same, I was like, man, no, I don't like Metal Gear, period. What Western RPG game mechanics do you think JRPGs should adopt? Probably storytelling, man. The dark, adult, and mature elements of the storytelling in Western RPGs. Definitely JRPGs should adopt some of those. We need more JRPGs with characters like that, with emotional and adult situations like that, but not so much. Like, to me, Final Fantasy XVI felt like a completely Witcher 3 ripoff. That's just my opinion, though. You may disagree. But we also need JRPGs to be, because of that, because of what I just said, I think they need to adopt those elements, but try to be original, to create their own stories, right? To kind of like be on the okay, we need adult characters and adult stories, but in our own way, not in the Dragon Age way or the Witcher way or the Mass Effect way. They need to come up with something of their own, original. But yeah, that's what I will carry over from Western RPGs. I think a good mechanic, but when it comes to gameplay mechanics, nothing. I'm sorry, man, but it's just most Western RPGs have the exact same gameplay mechanics. The Witcher 3 is no exception. And I wouldn't want... I just don't want that. Again, Final Fantasy 16 did it in terms of gameplay mechanics, and it felt boring. So definitely not. No gameplay mechanics. No JRPG should adopt any Western RPG gameplay mechanics. That's just my opinion. But take that from a guy who's a big JRPG nerd. Okay, I love JRPGs, and one of the biggest reasons why I love JRPGs so much is because of their gameplay mechanics. It's because their gameplay mechanics are unique and original, unlike Western RPGs. I'm not saying they aren't original gameplay mechanics in Western RPGs, there are, but most of them are like the same, and I don't like that. Okay, in terms of gameplay, I prefer far more Japanese RPGs than Western RPGs. But in terms of storytelling, I have mixed feelings. You know, I love storytelling in Japanese RPGs, but I also believe that Western RPGs have some killer stories. The Witcher 3 is a perfect example, and that's where I think more Japanese role-playing games should adopt. Like, they should have more adult characters. Like, we're tired of the 16-year-old girls and guys with their awkward romances, you know, in childhood friendship, growing up and leaving the peaceful village to fight for the world with the power of friendship and defeat an evil god. It's just been overdone, man. We were tired of that, you know. We need more characters like Yuri from Tales of Vesperia, came from Lost Odyssey, Daddy Nier, or more complex characters like the androids from Nier Automata, you know, storytelling like that, for Drakengard, for example. Or if we're gonna go through the 17 or 16-year-old characters, at least make it something like Xenogears, for example. Well, I think Faye is a little bit older, but most of the cast in Xenogears is on the 18, 19-year-old range, right? Or at least like Final Fantasy VII. I know Final Fantasy VII is overrated and whatever, you know, but, you know, Cloud was a soldier, and he's the main character. He's no high school protagonist. You see what I mean? I think we need more like that, more maturity in storytelling in JRPGs. But gameplay mechanics, no way.